Sydney is arguably one of the most beautiful cities in the world, but just a stone's throw away there's some of the most spectacular countryside in the state of New South Wales. So I'm going to take you on a journey through the Blue Mountains, driving a 250km loop, so you can see just what lies on Sydney's doorstep. Our first leg takes us 100km up the A32 to Katoomba, the most well-known place in the Blue Mountains. Our first stop is just past Penrith, at a town called Glenbrook. There's an information centre here where you can get some souvenirs as well as, well, information. Who would have thought? And don't forget to give Dolly Donuts a try too, trust me on that one. A short drive away you'll come to Springfield, another quaint little village, and while you're there, go the extra 5 minutes up the road to the Norman Lindsay Gallery and Museum.
Yeah.
This is the former residence of the famed artist of the same name. You might recognise this place from the movie Sirens, which was about Norman's life, and was filmed here. The inside of his house is now a gallery of his artwork, but you can even take a look at his studio, which is pretty cool. There's a few other quaint little places you can stop and have a wander through along the way. Wentworth Falls is one of those. There's even a nice lake. And if you're wanting to stretch your legs, you can walk around it. The one place you absolutely must stop at is Lura, which is literally just a few minutes next door to Katoomba. Now Lura is one of the best stops in the Blue Mountains. There's a real artisty vibe here that's really hard to explain. You can just get lost walking around and exploring all the boutique stores this little town has to offer. On the small drive around to the main attraction, there's some pretty decent lookouts to look out at. Now there are many lookouts around the area, and each give their own unique perspective of the mountains themselves. But it doesn't take long to realise why it's called the Blue Mountains, because there's a real blue tinge to it. One thing you shouldn't forget is that the Blue Mountains are not only blue, they're also mountains. And one minute you can be in the sun, and the next there's a literal cloud sweeping through, and it's raining. It can also get quite cold here. Again, this is the mountains, so bring warm clothes, even in summer, and an umbrella. The main town in the Blue Mountains is Katoomba, and much like its neighbour Lura, there's plenty of boutique shops to explore along its main street. A quick drive or walk to the end of the street and you'll find the Lookout. No. This is just a place to eat and get souvenirs, called the Lookout, but it does have a good view. A few minutes behind you'll find the real Lookout, at the Blue Mountains' most famous attraction, the Three Sisters. There are in fact quite a few different lookouts to go and see the sisters. On a good day you can even walk right down to them, but not today. Unfortunately, it's currently closed. Another place to get a great view of the mountains is Scenic World. Scenic World is a paid attraction, but you do get a good view, especially as you take the Skyway over to the other side of the valley. Once on the other side you will find more souvenirs and food, which is quite a bit more expensive, as you might expect. It's here you'll also find the world's steepest railway. That's right, the steepest railway in the world isn't just in Australia, it's in the Blue Mountains. Once you've bought the ticket, everything is included, so you may as well take the 545 metre journey down the 52-degree incline to the bottom of the railway. This railway was actually originally built for the mining tramways in the late 1800s. Cool. Down the bottom of the valley there are many purpose-built walkways, giving you an opportunity to walk around the trees and fauna without needing to go off-piste and hike the many hours on a trail. And for a change of scenery on the way up, there's a cableway, to give an entirely different view yet again. The next leg we had 40 minutes northeast, to Lithgow. There are more lookouts just this side of Katoomba, which I actually prefer. Now there's no Three Sisters, but there is a great view of the valley. The first lookout is Evans Lookout. If you like to walk, there's a 2-kilometre track to the next lookout, Sleep. I had to drive, for filming purposes, of course. Sleep is nicely done up and even has some rock hut type things where you can have a picnic. If you're feeling hungry, Blackheath is nearby and I recommend the Victory Theatre Cafe. This was delicious. Next up is Hartley Historic Village, a village located by the highway on a small hillside. The original village was founded in the 1830s and is practically unchanged to give a perfectly preserved look of the colonial past. There's an old courthouse, an old church, and even an old inn. It's free to walk around, so definitely worth a stop. Lithgow is probably the most prominent town on the route, and it's our next stop. There is a lookout here, but you will need to look out for the road, because it isn't very good. So unless you're in a four-wheel drive, it might not be the best. Now, I'd like to tell you the road is worth it, but the clouds had other plans for me. A man I spoke to said it was clear just 5 minutes before. Oh well. You can get more information on Lithgow at the Information Centre. You can't miss it, it's built in the shape of a miner's lamp. FYI, right behind there's some old train viaducts you might want to check out. One thing you might not know about Lithgow is they've been making guns here since 1912, and there's a museum located in the original Commonwealth Small Arms factory. Now I'm not a huge gun fan, or will pretend I know much about them, but I was actually quite impressed. It was quite interesting seeing all these guns firsthand. There's also Westbank House, a museum in a heritage listed former mine owner's residence, where they've tried to preserve Lithgow's early settlement days. Talking of mines, there's the Mine Museum. Unfortunately, it's only open weekends, and there's also the heritage listed former blast furnace. Now a park is pretty cool. This kind of looks like the ruins of a castle. There's also a quiet little lake here. One last heritage thing, because there's a lot here, is the Zig Zag Heritage Railway, located just on the way out of town. The Zig Zag Railway runs on part of the original Western Railway line that links Sydney with Western New South Wales. It's only open on specific days too, which means I need to come back. The final leg has us heading 86 kilometres back towards heritage listed Sydney. Sorry, I got carried away with all the heritage things. It's just Sydney, regular Sydney. I took a drive down a little side road to a place called Mount Wilson, and boy was I not disappointed. This quiet, and I mean quiet, little village has tree-covered streets, a beautiful old church, and has multiple private gardens you can visit that are supposedly breathtaking. Unfortunately, I don't have time to check them out. But I do have time to check out the Cathedral of Ferns, where there was once a really big tree. Wait, there's a Turkish bathhouse here? Talking of gardens, the biggest attraction on the way home is the Blue Mountains Botanic Garden. Ah, this stretch is called the Botanist Way. Now I get it. The Blue Mountains Botanic Gardens is free and quite big, so you can spend quite a lot of time getting lost amongst the pretty plants. On the final stretch home, make sure you don't blink, because you'll miss Bilpin. But if your eyes are open, which if you're driving, I hope they are, you'll want to stop quick, because it's another one of those cute little quaint towns. And if after all of that you're still not worn out, you can check out Richmond or head down the river to Windsor. Now, I worked for years in the other Richmond with a Windsor with a big castle in it. This one might not have the castle, but it does have a nice river walk and an old steamboat that if you're lucky you can see still run. The main street has a lot of cool little stores to look at, as well as an old paddle wheel. But it also has one of my favourite things in the world, an old pub. Actually, it's the oldest pub in mainland Australia. And this just seems like the perfect place to finish up and reflect on an awesome trip. As always, I hope you enjoyed today's video. Please remember to like and subscribe, it means a lot. Thanks for watching.